Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Megan Damon, and I am the Iowa SourceLink Program Coordinator at the University of Northern Iowa's John Papajohn Entrepreneurial Center. Here, we work with the Iowa Economic Development Authority to bring the Iowa SourceLink platform to all business owners. Whether you're looking to start, grow, fund, or even exit your business, Iowa SourceLink is here to help you. We provide step-by-step guides, make helpful referrals to our nearly 400 partners, and house the Iowa Business License Information Center. We also have the pleasure of presenting these webinars in partnership with the Iowa Department of Revenue. We have a full crew joining us today for today's webinar. Jonathan Mader, Tiffany Brown, and Chuck Crabtree will be providing an overview of the License Administration Portal. We also have Jerica Pellington and Lisa Gibson joining us today, and they'll be answering any of your questions that you have in the Q&A box. Before we get into that, I have a few housekeeping items to go over. First, today's webinar is being recorded and will be available within the next week. You will receive a link to today's recording in the same email that you will receive as proof of your attendance. The slides for today's webinar will be shared in the chat box by Haley Ham. Haley and I will also be sharing other resources and contact information if and when they're brought up during the webinar in the chat box. As for any questions you may have, please enter those in the Q&A box located in the bottom half of your screen. We do ask that you focus on asking general questions that could apply to everyone. If you have a question specific to your situation, we recommend that you talk to the Department of Revenue directly. We are going to hold off on answering any questions live that come through until the very end. And with that, Jonathan, Tiffany, and Chuck, I'll let you take it away.
Thank you, Megan. So,
Chuck and Megan, sorry, before you get started, I'm hearing that there might be an issue with the audio. Megan, is there a way to confirm that before we get started?
I will look into it in the background. Jerica, are you able to hear all of us?
I can, yep.
Okay, I'll keep looking into it on the background side.
Okay, thank you all. And we are hearing from some folks that they can hear. So just wanted to clarify that way. Sorry, Chuck, didn't mean to interrupt you there.
No, that's all right. So we're going to talk about the License Administration Portal today. I'm Chuck Crabtree. I'm with the Department of Revenue Licensing. So we're going to go through this portal at a fairly high level. We're going to talk about a lot of things, but there's a lot of things about the portal we're not going to talk about. This is kind of an introduction to this. So some of this you may know, some of it you may not. But we encourage you to kind of listen and add your questions maybe when you get a little farther down in this presentation, because you might find that your questions are being answered as we move through this. But certainly, if you have questions, type them in there and we'll see what we can do to get to them. I do have a disclaimer for the Department of Revenue, and I'm going to read this verbatim just because that's what we're supposed to do. Please be advised that the information in this presentation contains informal opinions and are only applicable to the factual situations referenced and to the statutes in existence as of the date of this presentation. The Iowa Department of Revenue may take a contrary position in the future to what is stated today. Any oral or written guidance or opinion given by department personnel not pursuant to a petition of declaratory order under Iowa Administrative Code 701 4.7 is not binding upon the department. So got that taken care of. Basically, it says, well, we're telling you what we know today, and it may or may not be true tomorrow, but we're going to do what we can. Our agenda today is we're going to talk about gaining, managing access to the licensing portal. We're going to talk about how we communicate with you through emails and web messages. We're going to show you what reviewing and approving or denying an application looks like. We're not going to talk about Dram Shop insurance endorsements unless we have specific questions, but we did throw it on here in case someone have questions for it. John's going to talk a little bit about fee distributions and how that works. And then just some wrap-up slides to give you some information on where you will go if you have additional questions. So The license, we did update our website in February, which was this month, actually earlier this month, with the more information on the license administration portal. So there's some help there to answer your common questions. You get there, there's a link right there on the slide, so you can get to that help from there. But there's video tutorials in there. There's gaining and managing access. Actually, our presentation kind of models what we put on the website. So we encourage you to go there. We acknowledge that prior to that, there probably wasn't a great deal of information for you on the website, but it's loaded with stuff now. So go there if you have any questions. This is what the license administration portal looks like if you've never been in there. There's a couple of things that we want to point out. If you have any questions, up in the upper right-hand corner, there's that question mark. You can click on that for help. There's obviously the place where you log in section 2 right there. Can you guys see my cursor? I think you can. I'm going to point with my cursor. If you forgot your username, you can click it on there. Down here, view license administration portal help. You can get a little more help here. And keep in mind that when you're logged into this, after 30 minutes, if it's just sitting there, it's just going to log you out. You'll have to log back in. But this is where you start. So first thing we're going to talk about is access. How do you gain access? And I'm going to pass it over to Tiffany Brown, and she's going to talk a little bit about how you gain access. Tiffany?
Thanks, Chuck. So this is to gain access to the license administration portal. This is not the general GovConnect Iowa. This is specific to just the license administration. So in order to gain access, you will need to send an email to our licensing@iowaabd.com inbox from your verified government city or county email address with the following information. We need your name, first and last, the city or county that you will be providing approvals for, any other helpful information that you think we need. And if you are already a GovConnect Iowa user, please provide us with your existing username. This is just kind of like a quick screen print so that you can see the process, the information we need, and how to get it to us. If you have the multiple usernames, please let us know that, because you actually only need one username to access both the GovConnect Iowa portal and the license administration portal. So what we can do is consolidate that into one username, make it easier for you to remember, user ID, and your password. So when you send us the email, make sure you have all of your usernames and then any preferred username that you want to use moving forward, so that we make sure we get everything consolidated under the correct username.
Great. Thanks, Tiffany. I'm going to take it back now. We're going to talk a little bit about how we communicate with you as a local authority through the license administration portal. Communication is super important. So there's 2 ways that we're going to communicate with you through this portal, and it's through emails and web messages. So basically, emails will be sent to you when you have a new web message to look at. That's the goal, is to get it to the point where we send you an email and say you have a new web message, and then that email will go to all of your registered logons. So if you have 5 people with your city or 5 people with your county who have logins for the license administration portal, they'll all get an email that says you have new web messages that you need to log into the portal to read. Okay, so we're trying to limit the emails. That's the goal right there. And hopefully we'll be able to get it to the point where you get one email that's within, every 24 hours that says you have web messages, instead of one every time we have a web message. We're working on that right now. So you will also get web messages. Those are located in the license administration portal. You need to log in to see those messages and to read the content of those messages. They will be visible to anyone logging into your portal, your city or county access. So if you have 5 people and they log in, they got an email that says you have a web message. Any one of them logs in, they'll be able to read those web messages. So the whole idea is to let everybody know there's something that you need to know about, get in there and take a peek. I'm going to dive down a little bit deeper on these a little bit in the next couple slides. So the emails will look like this. And I'm going to apologize right up front. I did a lot of screenshots to show you what it really looks like. So some of the text is going to be kind of small. I encourage you to go back and look at these on the saved presentation so you can look at these in more detail if you need to. But basically it says, hello, a new message is available in your license admin portal inbox. To access the message, log into your account at your earliest convenience. That's basically what it says. And all of these emails will come from noreply@govconnect.iowa.gov. So that's what the emails will look like. The web messages will be visible once you log into your system. If you go to the Action Center, you'll be able to see a box that says you have 3 unread messages right here. That's on your Action Center. You will also have other boxes possibly that show that you have applications to review, but this box will also be here on your Action Center. You can also go to I want to on your dashboard here and look for the box that says correspondence, and under correspondence you can also click on view messages there. So this is where you will find your web messages on the License Administration Portal. So I'm going to go back a little bit to emails. I told you that emails are just going to be sent to you to tell you there is a web message. There are a couple other emails that we're going to work on getting to you as emails and not just web messages, just because they're important. And we want to make sure someone in the local authority knows these. So we also will send you an email if a license is being canceled or has been canceled. You need to know that. We're also going to send you an email if a license is being suspended. You need to know that. These are the most important ones that we thought that you would want to know. They affect the businesses. They affect the community. You need to know about them. And if you're getting too many emails, please let us know. This is a work in progress, and we want to make sure it's doing what you need it to do. We can't make everybody happy, but we certainly will listen and see if we can improve our communication however you guys want it. Now, the types of web notices that you get. Once you log in, you go to your messages. What are those notices going to have? So there's going to be updates to applications, new applications, renewals, amendments. So you'll get a web notice whenever there's a renewal notice that goes out 70 days, 10 days, and 1 day before a renewal is required for a licensee. You'll get those web messages. You'll get one when it's submitted to Dram Shop for endorsement. You'll get one when it's awaiting local authority review. That's for you. You'll get one when it's submitted to IDR for internal review. You'll get one when it's approved, denied, suspended, canceled, or revoked. So notice that you'll get a web notice for suspended and canceled. You'll also get an email for suspended and canceled. Again, that just we know those are important and you need to get those. You'll also get a web notice when the license or renewal is timely filed. And we'll talk about timely filed here in a minute because that's a kind of a change to our process. I'll talk to you about that. For automatic renewals, you'll get a web notice that says a licensee has been successfully enrolled in the program. You'll get one when they're ineligible for auto renewal. When there's an upcoming auto renewal, that's 70 days before it renews. You'll get one when it's successfully renewed under an auto renewal and when they have been unenrolled from the auto renewal program. So those are all just web notices you'll get, give you an idea of what to keep track of, and you can pay attention to what you want to pay attention to. So here's a sample web message. If you look at the subject up here, application has been submitted to Dram Shop for review. Hello, you are receiving this notification because you are the local authority for this licensee. No further action is required from you at this time. But we do have something down at the bottom, especially for these, for Dram Shop. The application has been submitted to the Dram Shop carrier for review. The Dram Shop insurance provider must endorse the application by date. And if the application is not endorsed, the license can no longer operate under the license. So these web messages are important. Take a peek at them. and prioritize them as you need. So these are some upcoming enhancements to this portal that we're also going to be talking about in the future, is to manage your own access. Right now, you got to send that email. Tiffany talked about that. Send that email to manage your user access, who gets access. Hopefully, we'll be able to get it so that you can manage your own within your own local authority. A chat bot, which will answer most of your questions, that's coming hopefully, and and send a message so that you can send us a message directly without having to leave the portal. Okay, we're going to talk about now reviewing applications. We've talked about communication and a few things that are coming up, but we're actually going to jump into the applications and walk through what the review looks like. Many of you have already done this, but bear with me for those of you out there that are still learning this process. So once you log into the administration portal, you'll see under your action items, you'll see these boxes. And remember, I showed you this. They had a box also here that says view your messages. But these are the other boxes that you might have under your action items. Review alcohol license modify privileges amendment. Review the premises transfer amendments. Review ownership amendments. If you don't have any of these boxes won't show up. This is going to be your most common box. Review your alcohol permit applications and renewals. You'll click here, and they'll all populate at that point. So you can look and see which ones you need to review. So this is a walkthrough, just kind of looking at the first one. We picked one, say we saw our licenses. We decided to pick one we're going to review. We're going to walk you through it. This would be the first kind of page. It shows the business information, and you're looking at stuff that you can't change. This is their application, basically. This is their business information, the owner, SOS number, Secretary of State number, permit details with the license, the DBA, the effective expiration dates, premises type. It's all right here. The next page, there's a long list of these. So I'm kind of walking through what this will look like. It also shows your privileges up here. The outdoor service, if it's selected, the description of the outdoor service will be right below it. Premises information. These are questions we ask on the application that they have to answer kind of yes or no to, like, does your premises conform to all local, state, and health, fire, and building laws? Is your establishment equipped with tables and seating? We want you to know how they completed their entire application. So you can walk through those. Then it gets to the owners, and it talks who are the listed owners for this license. The names there, date of birth. This is a renewal that I'm going through for an example. If we were going through a new one, you would be able to click on these owners and get more information on these owners. But since this is a renewal, these have already been approved at some point. This is just reminding you who the owners are, who's their dram shop carrier right here. And then the criminal history details. What did they answer for criminal history? Did they answer yes or no to the felony question, or yes or no to the law question? Again, remember, this is a renewal, so these are since the license was last issued questions. If it was a new application, it would be, have you ever, violated the law or committed felonies? So they're a little different questions for new and renewal. And then after you look at their application, this is the chance for you to start filling in what it is that you have and what action you want to take on this application. The first thing to look at is this checkbox. Check this box if you are not the correct local authority to review this application. If this has come to you and you're a city and this is in the county, you need to just click this box, and that will send a work item back to us. We will correct the local authority on the case, on the application, and get it to the correct local authority, and you're done. Okay, so that's what this box is for. The rest of it is you just fill in whether you have a notarized statement on file, fire inspection. You're familiar with some of these questions. Is your premises sketch on file, premises address correct, zoned properly? Keep in mind the outdoor service area is down here also. You can deny outdoor service and still approve the application. So that's a possibility, and that would be done right there. And then this is another section right after you've done that we really encourage you as local authorities to take advantage of. We are asking you at this point, do you want to upload any additional sketches or premises of the premises listed in the reviews? So if you think, and this is on new and renewal apps, so if you have other stuff, other documents, other sketches, other proof of control that's not what was submitted, we encourage you to put them in there so that we can see them, and that will help us understand whether when you approve or deny or whatever. It helps us understand. So you've got your sketch. You can add a sketch, control of property, and then if there's anything you want us to know, additional attachments. We encourage you to use these. And then it's time for you to decide what you want to do. Maybe you've already gone to your city council, your supervisor's meeting, they've approved it or denied it. This is where you'll add your phone number, whoever's doing this, the decision to approve or deny, the email, your name, the date. You certify that you are able to do this. And any notes I wrote here, this place has a great Philly cheesesteak. You can do whatever notes you want here. But this is where you would do your final decision. We're going to talk a little bit now about, real quick, when I go back here, once you do your final decision, the case stages to internal review for us. So it comes to us. And then, yeah, like I said, you're done. Additional information required. This used to be a stage that you could stage it to if you were going to ask for more information from the licensee. We've taken that out. And so now we're asking you that when the case is staged to local authority review, it's on your dashboard to review. If you need additional information, if you need sketches or proof of control or anything, we just encourage you to go outside of the portal and do that with phone calls, emails, whatever you want. Get that information. If they provide that as documentation, then we encourage you to add that at this location where I was talking about. Add that documentation here. So additional information required is not a stage for you anymore. Just go get what you need and then add it to the case. Printing the application. This was at the very beginning. You select an application to review. Up in the top right-hand corner, there should be a link that says Application Printable View. That's there for you to click and print and present to your city councils or your supervisors to help them make a decision on the license. Timely file. I'm going to talk a little bit about this because this also is not a stage anymore or a status anymore of a license. And this only applies to renewal applications. And it's important to know that you as a local authority can't timely file a renewal application anymore. You used to be able to do that in ELAPS. The system now will timely file renewal applications when they meet the requirements to be timely filed. So if I just read this here, the renewal application is timely filed when it is either in local authority review or internal review, and it is past the expiration date. Then it will become timely filed. A renewal that is not timely filed will be automatically canceled one day after the expiration date. The licensee will have to apply for a new license. So this is an automatic cancellation. If there's a renewal and it's waiting for the DRAM shop to approve, and the expiration on that license comes and it hasn't been endorsed by DRAM, the next day that license will cancel because they have not met timely filed requirements. If the DRAM shop has approved that and it's waiting for the local authority or it's waiting for IDR, either one, then the expiration comes, it's timely filed, they can continue to operate until we make a decision on the application. So timely filed is taken care of systematically. You as local authority will no longer be deciding whether to timely file apps or not. A couple other little things about these applications. Outdoor service, you still have the option to deny the outdoor service while approving the rest of the application. And I showed you that as we walked through the application where that was located. On the automatic renewal program, again, this only applies to Class E licenses. The review page indicates if the applicant desires to enroll in the automatic renewal program. This is what it will say. Do they want to enroll in the automatic renewal program? Yes or no. So after you approve the application, right here, you'll approve it. You will be prompted with the option to approve or deny the enrollment in the auto renewal program. So this question won't show up until you take an action here to approve. You approve, boom, this will show up. You'll be able to approve or deny the automatic renewal enrollment. Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about ownership updates. It's a little bit different, and some of you have been in there and probably already noticed. So a single ownership update will now apply to all the licenses and all the applications associated with a business. So if I have a business named Chuck LLC and I have 5 different licenses, I don't have to do 5 different ownership updates. I do one ownership update to update Chuck LLC. That ownership updates. The ownership case will come to you as a local authority, and it will list the licenses that are under me, Chuck LLC. And then you just have to approve or deny that single ownership update. All impacted licenses, like I said, will be listed on your ownership update review case. So this is what it will look like. I'm just going to show you quickly an ownership update. It gives you the business information. It shows you the old owners here. It shows you the updated owners here. You can click into these owners and get more information in case you need to do your own DCI background checks. It just shows you the status. And then over here on the next page, it talks about the impacted active licenses. So for this one, there was 1 license. They'd all be listed here if there was more than 1, and the addresses would be listed here. This is the answers to the criminal history questions for the new owners, if there are new owners. And then this is where you would do your approval, the local authority, then approve or deny, and then list who you are and your address and everything. If you have a lot of ownership updates and see multiple ownership updates, which we've been seeing a little bit, we're encouraging you to just go ahead and approve the duplicates as we work through this process of getting it so there won't be any duplicates. But keep in mind, these ownership changes take place immediately. The minute I say I have different ownership for Chuck LLC, that becomes the new ownership for me, for my customer, for the customer, for my business, because that's what I've determined to be my owners. We are simply, you as local authority and us as the Department of Revenue are simply saying, fine, you can have that ownership, but that might be an issue with the license that you have. So it's a little bit different process than what we used to have with eLabs. I'm going to stop here and transition a little bit now and go to John Motter, who's with our accounting team, and he's going to talk to you about fee distributions pretty briefly, and then we'll give you a little wrap up and a time for some questions. John?
Yeah, thank you, Chuck. Good afternoon, everyone. Before I get into viewing the fees sent to your jurisdiction, I just wanted to take a moment just to say that the cadence for fee distributions is still intended to be the same as it historically was. And that'll be that the monthly fee distributions will be occurring each month on a monthly cadence, the first week following the close of the previous month. So February 27th is the last business day of this month. We would intend to distribute your local jurisdiction fees the first week of March. So that will remain the same as we roll into this new system. One of the big changes for the financial teams at your local jurisdictions is how the fee distribution details will be provided and available to you. The first thing you'll get will be a web message or a web notice to your email that you have registered on your license approver portal. And it'll notify you of a license fee disbursement. Once you receive that message, that basically is informing you that you can then log into the license administration portal, and it'll take you to your first landing page. On this slide here, County of ABC land, you have the Action Center settings and I want to. You'll want to select I want to, which takes you to the next landing page shown on the right of this slide. And when you're looking at that landing page, in the lower left, there'll be a cube titled Distributions, as you see there near the bottom of that. And within that distributions cube, there'll be an option to view alcohol fee distributions. That's where you'll want to select that link, and it will take you to your local jurisdiction's license distribution details. And so if we go to the next slide, Chuck.
I'm sorry, I'm locked up. Hold on.
There
we go. All right.
There you go. So this was this will be what your alcohol license fee disbursement web report will look like for each of you users. Across the top are the column identifiers of what each column means. So you're going to be provided the license ID that the Department of Revenue assigns the license type, or the permit type in this instance. You'll get the date that the license started and the duration of the license. This example is blacking out the addresses and the premise name and the premise address, but you would also be provided those details, which will certainly help you identify what the disbursement is associated with. And then you'll see a description column as well as the disbursement amount. One thing that is a big change for us and you all as the local jurisdictions is historically, if a licensee applied for a refund, they closed their business or they wanted to cancel their license, if the local authority historically had already received their portion of the fees, the Department of Revenue would only issue the state's portion of the refund to the licensee, and then we would direct them to the local authority to try to receive the refund portion that the local authority was responsible for, the prorated amount. Going forward in this new system, the state of Iowa Department of Revenue is going to refund the full amount to the licensees, and then that will save us directing them to recoup the refund from your entities. And the way we'll recoup the local authority portion is on a future disbursement. We're actually going to net what that refund portion would have been for you guys to issue directly to the licensee. We'll net it off of your next distribution. And so on this slide here, you'll see the red circle, and that's a license fee refund credit. So that's going to reduce the amount you probably anticipated getting. Say you were supposed to get $5,000 and there was a licensee that applied for a refund in that month, and they were due $500 from the local authority. Well, Iowa Department of Revenue is going to refund that for you. You won't be responsible to refund it to the licensee. We're just going to reduce your next distribution by that refund portion that you would have been responsible for. And those details will be provided on this report that you receive monthly. And with that, I think that's all I had for the group today.
Thanks,
So
John.
you, Chuck.
Yeah, thank you, John. I appreciate that. I'm sure that sparked a lot of questions, and they can get a hold of you, I'm sure. And so we're going to talk a little bit about now how you can follow up if you have questions for people like John. So for you as the local authority, these are your website resources. Emails, resources for alcohol, tobacco, and accounting are also listed on this page. Again, since this is being saved, you can go back to this for reference if you need to. I'm not going to hold it here too long. I know you'd probably like to write some of these down, but it'll be here in case you need to go back. Phone numbers for portal navigation, alcohol, and tobacco are also on this slide. For license holders, and this is something that you might be able to tell your licensees, they need to go to GovConnect Iowa when they're working. They can call us, and there's the number there. Email us, send us a message on GovConnect Iowa, and watch for step-by-step tutorials. And one thing I didn't mention that I had a note early on, and I just ignored it for some reason, is as a license administrator in the license administration portal, you probably already know this, but it's different than the GovConnect Iowa portal. And Tiffany touched on this briefly when she was talking about access. But as you're managing licenses in your jurisdiction, you'll be on the license administration portal. If you are, as a local authority, a city, and you're applying for a license, you're going to be in GovConnect Iowa portal. So that's where licenses are applied for. The licensing administration portal is where you go to approve licenses. Those all can be done under one login. So that's what Tiffany was talking about, merging those logins. So yeah, I diverge. Ways to stay connected with the Department of Revenue. You can subscribe to our Gov Delivery updates. You can attend webinars like you're doing now. Follow us on social media. To subscribe, there's the website you go to, and on the bottom right-hand corner, there's a button that says subscribe, so you can get more information. And this is what information you get when you end up subscribing for the updates. So we encourage you to do that. It's a good way to stay connected. That's all I have. That is a shotgun overview of the license administration portal. There's more stuff in there. We encourage you to go in and look around, but please feel free to look in there, and then you can ask us questions. And I'm sure people have been typing questions in the Q&A. So
yeah, Chuck, I was reviewing the Q&A. I did anticipate a couple fee distribution questions, and so I'll just try to globally answer them. Right now, we are in progress of developing some changes in the background. So the most recent fee distribution that occurred would have been for your December activity done in early January for all of you local jurisdictions. So the goal that we're striving for is by next week is the first week of March to have the system ready in the background to do our January activity disbursement and our February activity disbursement combined. So you won't be seeing a January license distributions yet, because those were not able to be completed in February. And we're hoping to have both January and February dispersed to you the first week of March. It may leak into the second week of March, so please be patient. The developers are working hard in the background on that. And so if I saw a couple other questions where they're not seeing any report, it may be, depending on your jurisdiction, if you are a smaller jurisdiction and you didn't have any license activity in the month of December, late November, you may not have received a disbursement yet, and that could be why it's blank. Otherwise, the developer may have pulled that down to put in these final touches for what that report will look like once we go live with the new disbursements for January, February.
Okay.
That was a lot. Sorry.
Thanks, John. I'm looking at a couple of the questions here, and I'm going to jump into one right here. Someone's asking, can we upload documents to our accounts at any time, as we go through old records and we find stuff? So at this point, you can you can add documents when it's submitted to local authority review. So that's, if you think you need to add documents before or after that, let us know. But that's the way that it's currently designed. You can only add when it's local authority review. I haven't had a chance to look at any more of these. Lisa, are there any that you think that we need to talk about?
Yes, we did have one question come in. Do license holders still receive renewal reminder emails or notifications from the portal? The answer to that is yes, you do. There should be a 70-day, 10-day, and 1-day renewal reminder notification that you should be getting. You will receive the email notice to your email, but you will have to log into the portal to see more detailed information for that. Also, aside with that, if you are not receiving email notifications, we've seen a lot of this in the chat today, please send us an email to the licensing@iowaabd.com and include your username so that we can do some more research and see if we can help get those notices going back out to you.
I'm going to let you keep running, Lisa. Do you have any more that you found that we need to answer?
Let me take, you took the one for the sketch and the upload, so that's good. Let me take another look here. I would just say overall to any system issues you are experiencing, again, please send us an email to the licensing@iowaabd.com so we can take a further look into it. If you do think that there could be some better enhancements made, please feel free to share those with us as well. We're always trying to make the system more user-friendly, and we encourage those suggestions from you as the users as well.
I see one of the questions here. Can there be more information added to the alcohol license applications awaiting review messages? It doesn't have any license or application information to indicate which application it is referring to. It just states to log into the portal. So that's a good question, and we've had to try to balance between what information to provide without providing too much information. We do encourage people to go to their portal for most of the information, but I can understand your desire. You know, when you get a notice that says alcohol license applications awaiting review, you probably would like to know which ones those are. The problem is for people with small local authorities, there might be 2 or 3 listed there. But people with Des Moines, that might have 40, 30. So it's a challenge for us to meet all of the needs, but we're certainly going to look at that. And our communication with you through the licensing portal is probably going to evolve over the year. So stay with us and give us a little bit of grace as we try to meet your needs. You see any others there, Lisa, that we need to? I see another question here asking for the web messages to have more information. So that's a related.
I did see a question that our cities, oh, it keeps jumping around on me. I'm sorry. Our city's required to keep proof of control or sketch, so any documents. That's up to each city. If you'd like to retain them on file, that's up to you. Again, if there's something you feel that the department needs and you're not able to upload it to an application at that time because one is not available, please feel free to send that to our licensing general email inbox at licensing@iowaabd.com, and we can get that added to the license file.
One of the questions is, how do you run a report for your fire marshal to show the expiration dates so he can schedule inspections? Well, you can actually get a list of all of the licensees and their expiration dates by going to I Want To, and then there's a section, and I forget what it's called, but it's list all licenses or look at all licenses. I forget what the link is, but there's a link in there so that you can click on it and you can see all of the licenses in your jurisdiction and what their effective dates and their expiration dates are and their addresses. So if you need information like that, you can get that through the I Want To tab. Another question I see: after we approve the license, what happens? Does the city also receive a copy of the license? No, the city does not receive a copy of the license anymore. We used to in ELAPS, but no, you do not receive a copy of the license. I see a lot of comments in here about getting messages for different local authorities, and so that's part of the development of a new system. We apologize for any inconvenience on that. We're working on it, making sure the right local authorities receive the right notifications. So I'm not going to address any of those specifically, but if it's something that's causing you problems with your operations, let us know and we'll see if we can expedite any cleanup of that. So we are aware that has happened in the past. Tiffany, there's a question here on how long will it take to get access. Can you answer that question?
It would depend on, it didn't clarify if it was local authority access or DRAM access. Generally, we try and get those handled as soon as possible, but I would provide a caveat that obviously with the new system and a lot of issues, we do experience an extremely high volume of emails and phone calls. So just bear with us a little bit. It might take us a little time to respond to some of your inquiries, but we're trying as hard as we can.
One of the questions is that when a license renewal is approved, will I get an email? You will get a web notice that the license has been approved, a web message, excuse me. You'll get a web message. You'll get an email that says you have a new web message. So yes, you'll be notified.
I did see a question of, we see a lot of amendments come through that list the exact same ownership information, old versus new. What should we do with those? If you have a duplicate ownership update amendment, you can just proceed with approving that amendment application and the department will take care of it after that. We are working on an enhancement for those applications as an option to mark those as duplicate or no longer needed. That is not going to be available for some time right now, but in the meantime, you can proceed with approving those. You don't need to deny them because that would not be a true denial.
I see a question. If an application is pending DRAM shop review, is it possible to see contact information so we can reach out to the applicant for documentation and to encourage them to get their insurance done? It is possible. That's something that we can make a note of, and maybe that's an enhancement that we can request. It makes sense. So you would know who to contact to say, hey, get your DRAM shop done. I mean, I understand that it's not a, we can check into that. Well, that's all I have. I mean, we've got some other questions in here. I do want to say that a lot of them are fairly specific, and we're kind of hold off on specific issues. But unless you find any more, all of the questions I think are going to be answered and going to be provided offline at a different time to the people that are on this webinar. I believe that is correct. So we'll answer all of your questions in time. But I really don't have anything else. Lisa, do you see anything else we need to chat about in there?
Yeah, thanks, Chuck. Not at this time, but we will have a list of your names with questions that we weren't able to address during this presentation today, and we can respond via email with the answers to those questions for those specific ones. Again, feel free, you've got our licensing email general inbox address, so feel free to let us know if there's any questions outside of this that maybe you forgot to ask, wish you asked, so forth, and we'll be happy to help respond to those as well.
Okay, thank you. Megan, I'm going to pass it back to you.
Thanks, Chuck. And I am going to give a quick disclaimer to what they're saying. I am going to, after the webinar is done, provide them with all of the questions in the Q&A chat. However, if you ask the question anonymously, we will not have your contact information to be able to reply to it. So real quick, if you asked it anonymously and you want your question still answered, go back in the Q&A box and ask that question one more time, but don't ask it anonymously because we need your contact information to follow up with you. But with that, I'll go ahead and wrap up today's webinar. Thank you to Jonathan, Tiffany, and Chuck for sharing this overview of the License Administration Portal. And thank you, Jerica and Lisa, for answering all those questions in the Q&A box. As a reminder, this webinar was recorded and will be available to watch on our website or by searching for Iowa SourceLink on YouTube within the next week. Just like they said, if your question was not answered today, all of those questions will be emailed to our presenters along with your contact information, and they will try their best to follow up with everybody. As a reminder, Iowa SourceLink does not provide a continuing education certificate for your attendance here today. We do, however, send out an email to everyone who participated within a few days after the webinar's conclusion that you can use as proof of your attendance. Today's webinar was only the first of many in our 2026 webinar season. We are still figuring out the scheduling for the rest of the webinar series, so follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram at Iowa SourceLink. We will announce on those platforms the remaining webinar schedule. In the meantime, visit iowasourcelink.com for free small business resources. Thank you again to all of our presenters, and thank you to you all for joining us today. Until next time, have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you.